Hey guys. Oh my god. How upset can you get? See? They're nice. I got them as a birthday present and there was a lot of stuff involved with because I'm not taking them off for now for at least a couple of hours because this is a system that actually has a little hook, fairly small hook, and then there's a like a hinge mechanism on the bottom half of the plug that supposed to attach it to your head. And the angle of the top half was to me unworkable. So I don't know if you've ever been through this, trying to get earrings on that you love, that are really pretty, and no matter what you do, you just don't get it right. So I'm putting all my amber gear on because I love me amber. And there's all sorts of stuff that's been happening, what with, one thing and another. My favorite tools in the world. Okay, so I just unbent the little part of the metal wire that goes through the earlobe, this part, okay, from going like this, it had to go like this. So it's like a millimeter, no more. And then do it in such a way that the hinging thing still sits there properly when it closes, okay? I got it sorted. I did it in 7 minutes, I think. I was almost crying because, well, there's a bit more to this whole thing. Turns out that when we were in Switzerland on holiday, my husband and I, we had decided to, for my birthday on the 6th of August, to go to Basel, to Switzerland for a day trip and have lunch there and, generally traipse around and have fun and go to also a metaphysical store that I had picked out from the internet. And it's great fun. That's just that center, the old city center of Basel has got lots of galleries and lots of, it's like the way it used to be, going to town with, crafty shops and beads and stuff. It's amazing. And it's all up and downhill. So there's all these little alleys and it's really clean and pretty, and a lot of the of the houses are from the Middle Ages, I should say, so medieval, but it's all very neat and it all looks really sharp and fresh and clean. It's many of the houses are painted white on the outside or bright color, there's a lot of light in the streets. And so it was a great visit. Only at the end of the day, I was tired and I was kind of, having, it was a lot of, different impressions and things. And my husband had thought of giving me a pair of earrings because we talk about, birthday presents, and he wanted to give me something that had a bit more stature, a bit more value, if you like. At the end of the day, we were at a Chinese restaurant closer to the holiday home that we had rented, and so back in France, and we were talking about this, and he had shown me in the metaphysical store there was actually a pair of earrings that were in no way similar to these, and they had opals in them, and they were over 100 euros. And I went, "Are you nuts? You don't give me, I don't want, give me a book, something I can, because that's different, and that's just a couple of tenors." So you see where all this is going. I had a massive meltdown inside, basically, especially in the evening, where I didn't know what was happening to me. We were just basically talking about earrings and what they were supposed to be costing and what I thought would be, And I appreciated, kind of, that he wanted to give me something of value, what with recent developments in our marriage, for which, I refer you to the channel. There's been a lot that he wants to, he wants to show his support and his appreciation. And at some point during the conversation, he doesn't even say that. I realized that that's what he wanted to do. I also realized that if I wear pretty earrings like these, or something, that looks rather neat, not just an accessorized type, or, a little, I have garish pink flamingos earrings that are actually my favorites, because they weigh next to nothing. It's just a normal hook type mechanism, zit, zit, and you're done. And it looks happy and cheerful and funny and kind of noticeable without being all, they're tiny, like this. So I have an issue with how much money is being spent on me. And I was realizing during halfway into the discussion that I hadn't thought that if I wear really pretty earrings, that he gets to look at me from the other side of the table and see the earrings the whole time. And that is actually nice for him, which is something I can live with, the idea of him feeling the way that feels, the way a man will feel, if his wife has got pretty earrings in and he just bought them for her and she's, happy and dee-dee-dee, as I tend to be. The moment I realized that it was actually that I should, have a little file in my brain for the fact that the earrings, even though they should feel comfortable for me and I should be okay with them, that it's actually something he gets to look at. He gets to enjoy, And I hadn't thought of that before. And I clammed up, which is something that doesn't really happen to me all that often, I think. I have slightly silent phases where I just, trudge along or don't have that much to say for a bit. That doesn't have to be a problem. There's going to be a witchy check-in of a different kind, more of a real, proper witchy check-in with, problems and travails. I clammed up so bad that I just gobbled down my rice and chicken or whatever it was, duck, I think. I was so miserable. I was feeling guilty and bad, and I just clammed up like that, I'm laughing now because I'm getting the opportunity, giving myself the opportunity to talk to the world about this. Oh dear. Okay, we had a meal, finished the thing. I was not speaking anymore. I was just like that. He paid. I went over to the other side of the street where there was this little, public bookcase where people stuff their books in. They're all over in front, which is great fun because I keep, stealing of, in a way that's actually okay to do. Books and about all sorts of subjects that I would never have bought myself. It's great fun. Picked up a book actually and sat on a bench and sat there for another half hour at least. And husband, after 5 minutes joined me and sat next to me, and it just, he had no clue what was going on. He was like, oh my God, I just wanted you to have the nice earrings. I don't know what's going on. And it took me a second, and then because there was no pressure anymore at that point, I just went like, wait a minute. Birthday presents. The moment I say this, it just comes blooming up again. What's it like as a kid growing up? And not only when you're 2 years old, but when you're 10 years old and 20 and 30 years old, to be getting beautiful presents, especially from my mother. My mother always used to buy me pretty necklaces and things like that. Everybody always gave me presents. They always gave me things. But there was a lot of stuff in everyday life, like personal contact and rest and quiet and support and trust, that I was not getting. And I was desperate. I was an inch away from the ravine, you know? All the time. All the time that my mother was alive. She died when I was 28. So all that time, and for years on afterwards, I still thought, in the way I was brought up to think, that there was no such thing as an unmet need. And I bless Steel Swan for giving me those words, because those are her words. So the moment I realized that the whole circus around the earrings, the opal earrings in the shop that were more than twice, I think, as expensive as these, which we got afterwards, after, you know, a couple of days later, in a different shop, that it was about getting stuff and stuff and stuff and piles of stuff and things and books and things from people that had tried to find you presents and things, and they were just simply incapable. None of them were capable of giving me what I needed, which should have come from my mother, my father, my grandfather, who was always around, my mother's dad, who always, you know, who appreciated me quite a lot. I think he saw quite a bit of what I'm saying here, all this stuff. He would have gone like, yeah, well, I could see that was happening the whole time. And they would have, in my family, there was discussion on and off, you know, the moments that I have actually heard them say things like that it was unwise or stupid even of my mother to keep moving house with me the whole time and to move me from one place to another the whole time. That she should never have divorced my dad was another thing, you know, that they weren't, they were very antagonistic. My mum and her family, those people, you know, they were constantly butting heads over this stuff. And she felt like, you have no clue what this man, my father, was like to live with on an everyday basis. So please shut up and stay out of my life. She was right. And the way they talk about this still in my family, and some people may actually watch this video, who knows, you know, because there's a couple of people out there who've actually, hi, you know, here I am again talking about things. They assumed, or they put it all down to them, the whole problem of my life really percolated down to doing or not doing certain practical things like moving house 20 times. And I don't think it's about any of this. It's important to me. This whole thing is massively important. And just now, for the 20th time, I was fighting with these earrings, which came later. Like I said, we bought them after I had my meltdown, and then I unfroze from the meltdown, which makes no sense, but never mind. Again, as soon as I realized that it had something to do with getting given things where what you really need is a constant ache in your body and your brain, and you don't even know, because inside I was 2 years old. I had no clue what to, you know, how to put words to things. So I'm very much now, what with, you know, the whole process, on a path of integration again. And this is my integration necklace that's got all these weird dangly bits and loads more amber in. And to finish, you know, chronologically my story here, we went to a different place actually, because I was thinking of buying aquamarine pendants and or other, you know, little items and gems. I have these over here that I have maybe shown already. Yes, I showed these already. Little, you know, apatite and chrysocolla bracelets that I actually intend to take apart to use the beads. Still technically a possibility. Really nice material, great colors, great stuff. Aquamarine pendants actually also worked really well for me. It's over there now. We went and got these in the same shop, and they were half the amount of the other ones. And by then I had sort of understood more of the, you know, what my husband is trying to do today, now in 2020. It's not 1974 anymore. Jeez. So then it turns out that these earrings had a technical, like the technical problem that I described with the hook and the thing. And I just managed to unbend slightly this angle of these of the hooks that go through the earlobe to go slightly outward like that, and I managed to put them both on again fairly easily just now. So I'm leaving them in for a bit, and that concludes my earring story. I realized that apparently getting these earrings was a problem for me still, and I had the funny thing is, last weekend, I put them on, like in the old configuration where they were still fairly tight. I just put them on like that and didn't think about it for a second, and it just went okay by itself. I think still that this way, now they're slightly less, you know, the curve is more open, that it will be easier. It should be perfect. If they're not completely okay, I know how to, you know, make it slightly more shorter and rounder so that I should be able to manage this quite fine. I have whatever these are called, pincers, right? This is actually one I inherited from Mum, so because she said you should always have your pair of these, or two preferably, because then you can do like that. So all this is one little episode, a teeny tiny minuscule episode that fits into a scheme of things that I am working on for myself, where there's a couple of things that I think are worth talking about anyway. And basically the earrings are just an introduction. So that was an introduction of 17 and something minutes. I watched Lisa yesterday making an anointing oil for herself, I think, basically, and sharing her ingredients and recipe and procedure with us, which was great fun. I'll stick the video in the description, the link for you to have a look at if you like that kind of thing. And I was instantly inspired. She talked about body acceptance to a large extent because she has written a book about self-worth, the self-worth path. And so it's a lot about, you know, living inside your own body and being comfortable with yourself and confident. And, you know, one way of putting it, I suppose, for me certainly, is getting out of your own way, where you might, you know, really prevent yourself from engaging in things, being a part of things, because you lack confidence or you are giving yourself a hard time over lack of acceptance, you know, lack of all that. So all that makes a lot of sense to me. And as I was watching, and I have watched a couple of her earlier episodes also about her book and the self-worth, earlier self-worth sessions that she has posted on YouTube, I have been thinking about this, and I haven't really felt like I am lacking in terms of body acceptance. Not necessarily, because my body is okay, my body's healthy, and I have aches and pains here and there sometimes. I have also a energy vibration practice that gives me a lot of support that I call Shakti energy work, or sometimes Tumo, depending on which version I am using. My bodies are great, you know, it does what I want it to do. I'm mates with my body, so I don't really look at things exactly from that angle. However, and you know, you could ask, how far along are you on this kind of a trajectory anyway? I am interested in body integration a great deal for myself. So that would mean making sure, if that's possible, or to the extent that that's possible for me, to live inside my body more than I tend to do. I tend to Knight of Wands style, you know, race after ideas and or emotions sometimes. And I have a history of dissociation, of fear and anxiety. I have a history, most of that is quite a long while ago, but I still have, my body still tends to sometimes do that. When I'm challenged, I will, you know, when some people just bring that out in me, and that's hard. And when they also bring it out in, for example, my husband or somebody else who's close to me, then I am triggered. It's very human, very normal. And so I was looking for ingredients for myself to make a similar kind of a flask. This is my flask here. And it has little pieces of all sorts of things in there. And there's a little seashell right there. There's another little seashell, see? And a rosebud and lots of other bits. There's a couple of bits of amber also, little broken up bits. So never throw away old bits of crystals, right? Always keep the bits because you can use them. And this also contains a couple of pieces of myrrh resin, opoponax resin, the amber bits that I mentioned just now, a piece of a vanilla pod, actually, and a couple of other things, and a little piece of mugwort, you know, little piece of the flowery buds, and a couple of leaves, just like that. A couple of bits of oak moss are in here as well, and you know, cinnamon bark, tiny piece, and one clove, and etc., etc. You know, the things like that. I was gathering yesterday for quite a while. I was just gathering little bits from everywhere around the house and putting them all together on top of a handkerchief on my table here, and to, you know, accumulate the energy, which then I took out this little flask. The plan is to, when I get it, I have ordered myrrh oil, which is a wonderful type of essential oil that will cost me, what was it, 23 euros more or less. So that's like towards the $30 type of a price, including postage. Not that much postage, just 3 euros postage inside the Netherlands. So that's fine. It's Ethiopian myrrh oil, the actual, I think, better quality type. And when I get that, I will pour 2 or 3 drops of that in here, as well as probably just 1 drop of spikenard, both of which are actually in here, in this tiny vial here, that contains myrrh and spikenard, with probably a bit of lavender to keep it more, you know, liquid, like that. This is Mary Magdalene mixture. So what you get in here is it feels so nice. It's so nice to be just holding this as well. They give me exactly what I need. A sense of where vulnerability is okay, basically. That's the thing where it all happens for me. That you can trust in your own resilience, trust in your love for life, you know, choose to love life instead of hating it and, you know, all that. So it's a big 180 for me. I even pulled cards way before I started picking out my ingredients for this thing. I went ahead and went like, okay, so I need cards for this adventure here. And the first one that I got was the Knight of Wands. This is the Kabbalistico Tarot again that I've been using to get at the astrological and other data easily, more easily. It's not much to look at, but it has the intel. Queen of Pentacles, 5 cards in all, you guys. The 8 of Cups, and the 2 of Pent, like so. And it actually has Jupiter in Capricorn, which is my husband's position. The 8 of Pent has Saturn in Pisces, which is my position, natal position. And then I get the last one, the Chariot, which is a Cancer. See, right there. That's where the intel is. Cancer sign for the Chariot. So 1 major and 2 minors and 2 court cards for this, and they were actually in a particular order, starting with the 2 court cards, like so, and then the 8, and then the 2, and then the Chariot. And it seems like a very cohesive whole. It's like I can dig into these cards to somehow advise me on this trajectory, and for some reason there's more going on in my brain is working together with this for a change, instead of just reading about things endlessly and having loads of information clogging up my life, basically, where I really don't know where I fit in anymore. Instead of that, I have little bits of ideas that come to me where I feel like, okay, so this actually makes some kind of sense in terms of this underlayer, maybe subconscious, maybe you just have to call it the subconscious, I don't know, that I'm trying to become mates with in this. And it isn't really my body. It's like a body intelligence, if you like, or an emotional body and subconscious, and all of those together. It's the same thing, and you just depends on how you describe it, And I was wondering also, the first thing I realized when I was thinking about these things is that you are talking and working with cards and working with all those things as if you were actually looking still at your inner child. Another word for the same ball of energy inside there, from the outside. I'd rather ask the cards than ask myself. How stupid is that? So that's one that I want to really put out there, because I realize I really do, a bit of how much of a egomaniac, control freak-ish type of a patriarchal, domineering slave master I really am to myself here, to this part of myself that basically needs a life, or that should have been part of my life. And while it wasn't, or only in a negative way, or very often in a way that I registered as negative because I got headaches, or I got sciatica, or I got other, ailments and things, and resistance, and general lackluster is the word that comes to mind, where that's not the kind of life that I should be having. Those are the negatives that I registered. How often has my body intelligence, let me just put it that way, supported me through all that, through the survival years, right? Those were survival years. I had no choice. And we did really rather well, I think, seeing as I'm still here. And I'm not addicted to anything other than all this, kind of stuff, which I'm just basically very fond of. So I realized yesterday evening, I was thinking about some of this, and I realized there was just kind of a thought that fell into my head. And the thought was, what is the question that lives inside of me that has no words? The wordless question that lives inside of me that I may or may not be aware of, And as I was trying to sink into that and trying to establish this type of communication with myself, I think that there's actually quite a bit of anger down there still. So one of the wordless questions will be, sod this. I'm off. I want to be out of here. That's one of the parts of me that's talking, And I want to be free inside in my life much more. But because of this a part of me having been relegated to a very subservient function always, I suppose we have to get used to each other. And so far, I'm coming back to this now. The wordless question I found to be, kind of really supportive. I'm hoping that, using the oil, what will happen to this is after I put on the essential oils that I mentioned, I already have put in a couple of small drops of essential oil mixtures, just as so far that I could use them. Whichever ones are they? I think there's the inner otherworld oil as well. Just a little bit, the total smells amazing. So the idea afterwards will be, and I'll show you when it's finished, what it looks like then. I will put in a bit of neem oil as well, because I use that for my hair and it's just amazing stuff. It smells really bad though, but it will go together with the rest really well. And I will top it off with olive oil. That's the one that I will be using for this, because it's a different kind of a temperament, and to me that feels like it will integrate everything beautifully for me. And then the idea will be to just use, teeny tiny little bits of the oil to, go like this and on whichever part of your anatomy that you want it to be on. And I think that will be really nice. It will actually be able to manage creating the whole of creating all this. And I haven't gone about this in the way that I see Lisa do it, with smudging all your implements and with sage and or cleansing your space and doing that all properly, because it's still a bit too much of a mess for me to go about these things in that manner. Actually, this bottle is a bit on the small side. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to get a bigger bottle also, just twice this size, so you can see all your contents better. Then again, I will only be using this very sparingly. I'll sit it on my table right here by hand, because otherwise I'll just forget about it. I will forget all about my body integration and my body intelligence and all that, because life, oh my god, life. And so this actually, there's another book that I was going to buy. If I ever get that money train, there's still talk of an inheritance happening, somewhere relatively soon. There's a couple of books that I'm interested in, a couple of decks as well. Boy, are there cute decks out there. I'm watching Natalia at Ouroboros quite a bit recently, because I like her a lot and I like the kind of information that she puts on, the way she goes about things. And she was showing the Mysteries of Mary Tarot. That's over $100. Meep. I don't need things that are, I'm not used to spending that kind of money. Not used to spending that kind of money on. It's difficult. So there are many beautiful things out there. And I tend to be a bit reductionistic with my tarot approaches and my cards for the day, 9 of Pentacles, like that. What's it say? Venus in Virgo. So then because I'm an astrologer, I will see that as a more restrained and better organized kind of a Venus, compared to, maybe I should do a series about that. Wouldn't that be nice? using these cards in order. I can, or maybe sets of them, you know, to show, okay, so Venus in Virgo is a lot more restrained and organized, better organized than Venus in Cancer, which is what I have in my chart. Where Venus in Cancer is like this massive love of life, which I need to acknowledge for myself, which I am acknowledging as I sit here, you know, in the words. It's also it doesn't really have a lot of perspective to it, Venus in Cancer. Going through Virgo, you will have more perspective. What I could do is pick out the cards if they're all here, which I am not sure of, because I don't think that all the planetary positions are in here. I think there's people who are actually having a beef with that, about the tarot as it is in this system not giving you Venus in every 12, you know, every one of them. Because that's not the case. There's just a couple of them. So you have to make up as you go with in between the positions that are actually given. Venus and Virgo. So I like that. I like that I'm actually managing my earrings. This is very Venus in Virgo. Yeah? Okay. Yay. Yay for that. So the other card was the Queen of Wands. And what with, you know, starting my whole body integration process with the Knight of Wands, that's flaming usual because that's my card. Or so it has been. Maybe it's time to change personal cards. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to, whatever it is that I'm going to do. I don't need to go to town to get my earrings fixed anymore. I can go to town for anything I like. Just have a coffee somewhere, maybe. Be out amongst peoples instead of being by ourselves all the time. I hope you manage by yourself wherever you are. Huh? Yeah, you'll get through this, whatever it is, you know. And find new ways again and again. See you next time. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.